Hey everybody, welcome to Leon's Chainsaw Parts and Repair. Nice rainy, little chilly day here in the Pacific Northwest. God knows we need the rain. I think we've had almost an inch in the last 24 hours, which I know to some parts of the country is nothing. Where I grew up on the coast, you could get an inch in an hour easy, but Rogue Valley, that's not so bad. So we're looking at Martin's XL-12. This one's out of Canada. This is a Terry-built saw. I don't think I'm going to get zoomed in on that tag all that terribly well, so I'm just not going to try. But this one, this should be a 1970 model, I think. UT50003, that's an early one, but it does have that Terry tag. Not a whole lot is different between the US model and this one. The metallic paint on the handlebar is one of the only differences. This still has the US style muffler on it. Oregon logo for the chain. Manual oiler. Yeah, it's all basically the same. So this saw was just a slight more of a challenge than some of the other ones I've been working on lately. What was going on is I got the fuel hose replaced, went through the carb, everything looked pretty good, fired it up, and initially it ran, the first minute or so, I was ready to call it good. Then it started cutting in and out. Spark was going in and out. At least what sounded like spark to me. You work on enough of these, and you're going to tell when it's ignition and when it's fuel, whether it's bogging down, leaning out. But when you get a pop, 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 that's your ignition going in and out. Now, it could be a lot of things. It could be a wire that's rubbing, hitting something, shorting out. It could be the spark plug lead. It could be a bad on-off switch. You just kind of got to go through crap. This saw is pretty low hour. And there was no busted wires. What it ended up being is a bad condenser. And the best way I had to diagnose it, I do have a fluke meter on the way. Side note. That has the microfarad setting, so I'll actually be able to start where I can get the specs on a condenser. I'll be able to start kind of measuring them and doing it a little more scientific, the official way. But the unofficial way with this bad boy was real simple. 1/4-inch spark tester here, and I cranked it over with the drill, and I was getting a fire about every 100 RPM. That was it. It was very, very intermittent fire. And again, to my way of thinking, what I've seen, if you're getting fire, it usually means your coil is good. If you have a weak spark, usually that's a condenser. I'd already cleaned the points, knew they were fine. Again, this is a low hour saw. Why this condenser took a dive, I don't know. But it's going in the circular file where it belongs. So the only other thing I need to address is grinding the bar a little bit and closing the rails. Being a manual oiler saw, this bar has got some wear in it. Not as bad as I've seen in some, but there's wear. I can see the rails are slanting. And there's a pretty big chip out of the tip here. Now, this is a classic saw. You can still see some of the original paint on the bar. I'm sure this bar is original to the saw. That's the hard facing there. I can't do anything with that. I know there are guys that could, but I can't. I'm not equipped to weld that kind of anything and grind it down. Yes, I have the bar shop that I could re-groove, but that's just not my thing. Now, that being said, this bar is fine. This has been chipped for a while. This edge has already rounded down a little bit. A chain is going to ride through there. This piece is a little too big. But I don't care, I'm going to use it anyway. Chain's going to ride through there okay. So that's my recommendation, is that I will run this over the bar shop. I'll close the rails. But, I mean, you guys can see. That's going to ride right through there, no problem. So, if this was a production bar, yeah, maybe it'd be worth considering replacing, but this has got to be low hours. I mean, with still some paint on there, and there's not a lot of gap to close in the rails. The bottom right here, this is spread more than any, and I'll grind them flat. But anyhow, Martin, I feel very good about this. I'll get that bar taken care of when the rain dials back, and I'm going to roll my bar shop out to set it up, and we'll get this thing heading back to you shortly.